Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things injustice. It is the week of August the 10th, 2023. Current challenge is New 52 Superman. It's 1 week repeat. Required characters are Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. Available as bronze, and silver at the cheapest level. Good entry point for newer players to get a pretty good card. Of note, we haven't kept track of all of the challenges that do this, but this particular challenge has a random chance at a free dead shot at the expert level, ladder 4, the 10th fight. You get a random chance at one of the opponents. The other two opponents are silver, but one of them is a gold dead shot. So, New 52 Superman's passive is Rage of Krypton. Superman receives plus 100% basic damage buff for accumulating power, stacks up to 3 times, and can't be rinsed. Superman takes 15% less damage with every Justice League teammate. Batman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman all count as Justice League teammates. He's got 1300 attack and 1500 health. He was last available October 13th, 2022. Alright, he's got really great high stats. A little more in the health than we'd like, but still pretty darn high. And on his own, he's pretty good. He's got a 2-part passive. So the second part, to just get that out of the way first, it's decent. He maxes out at 30% decreased damage because he does not count toward his own passive for damage reduction. But the first part is the most interesting. And how it works is that for every 2 bars of power that he generates, he boosts his basic damage by 100%. Total boost is 300%. Even if you spend power, even if your power gets drained, you don't need to hit 2 bars. It's cumulative, so as long as you've been gaining enough power that's equivalent to 2 bars, every time you do that, you get the 100% boost. Now, the bad news is it's only basic damage. It's not his specials, and I'll explain why that matters. So this is your dilemma, right? Do you gear him to generate power faster, to take advantage of his passive, or do you make him more of a tank, so that you let his passive take care of his offensive potential and use his gear slots to make him harder to kill? So when he was first introduced, actually there's sort of 3 horns of the dilemma too, actually, before I get to that. The third horn is, do you gear him so that his basics will crit every time, so that when you've boosted his basics with his passive, you're doing the maximum amount of damage? Right. So when he was first introduced, there was no Tantu Totem, no Master's Death Cart, so power generation was relatively slow. New 52 Wonder Woman was already around when New 52 Superman was introduced, and she could give him power, but it took so long for her to generate it, and she was only giving him half of the power that she spent. It really wasn't having any kind of impact on fights, at least not on fights that were finishing quickly. But after Tantu Totem and Master's Death Cart were introduced, everything changed. Wonder Woman could generate a huge amount of power, she could pass along to Superman, and by the time you needed to bring him into the fight, his passive had already boosted his damage by a lot. So you no longer had to waste slots boosting power generation, and you could use his gear slots to make him harder to kill. We had him in our original Justice League team. Link is in the description. And all 3 gear slots were to reduce damage. And think about it too, New 52 Wonder Woman being a teammate would also reduce damage. So the third team slot could be Justice League also, reduce damage even more. Or you could use New 52 Shazam, like we're doing in this fight that you're watching, to reduce his damage by 25%. The unfortunate thing is, Shazam does not count towards New 52 Superman's passive, so you only get the 25% from Shazam. So you've got lots of different options, but if you really want to unlock his potential and make the most of him with his passive, he's not going to be the star of the team. He needs New 52 Wonder Woman. You have other options for a third teammate. You could boost his power generation with Regime Green Lantern, while also reducing damage taken by 15% because Green Lantern counts as Justice League. So in the spirit of the sequence since November 2022, where we are using each challenge character during their week and making them the star, we are using him as our main damage dealer. We've gotten away from playing with New 52 Superman because it still takes time to boost his damage in the way we were playing him in the role that he had. And sometimes we need a basic damage dealer right at the beginning of the fight. And if we want to get through the fight quickly, we want somebody who's already primed and not somebody you have to work towards to make them ready. So the footage right now is New 52 Superman as a specialist. You activate his passive much more quickly when he's doing his own specials, right? Twice as fast as Wonder Woman, basically. New 52 Wonder Woman. You tag him in with Tantu Totem Master's Death Card. It gives him 2 bars of power right away, triggering the first 100% boost to basic damage. If he knocks out the first opponent with Special 2, he gets 2 bars back again, triggering another 100% boost to basic damage. And the one thing we didn't realize until we started playing with him as a specialist, his Special 2 is really good. It has 3 main hits. Each does a significant amount of damage. I mean, it's not balanced a third, but it's enough that there's a chance that you could knock somebody out with any one of the given hits. The kicker, though, is there is enough separation between the hits that if any one hit knocks out an opponent, the next hit will land on the next opponent. That is not true of many specials. Most specials will whiff on an attack during the time that it takes for the next opponent to tag in, so you usually miss out on a hit. Not true with New 52 Superman. And you can see in the fights how quickly he can max out his basic damage boost to 300%. The problem with that is that he's still your specialist, so he does more damage with specials. But the interesting thing is where this works as a solution to a problem that maybe we didn't even realize needed a solution. His passive lets him manage characters that dodge specials with their passives, like Dawn of Justice Batman or Wally West. So each time New 52 Superman attempts a special 2 and they dodge, he gets power back. It powers up his passive, and after a couple times of that, his basic damage will be boosted enough to handle them. So if they dodge a bunch of times, because the AI gets a beneficial roll of the random number generator, then you've boosted them up to do basic damage. Okay, so now we do basic damage and knock out the opponent. It also works with gears that dodge specials, like Riddler's Staff, which dodges Special 1 or blinks against Special 1, or Mother Box, which blinks against Special 2. But he has the additional option of shattering them because we've geared him in his 3rd slot with Claw of Horus. Now, he's not particularly hardy because 2 gear slots are used to maximize his power generation. The 3rd is Claw of Horus to shatter Astral Harness if it shows up, or if someone has a no damage gear loadout. And other than those 2 situations, we don't really need gear shattering. Technically, we don't even need gear shattering for Astral Harness. It just speeds up those fights a lot. It really is most important against no damage gear loadouts, because we're not going to be relying too hard on damage over time, which is the other solution for that. Rest of his teammates, Hawkgirl as usual to tag in and tag out faster. She's got Astral Harness to make her our tank. New 52 Shazam to reduce damage taken, and he's also a backup in case we mess up and need someone powerful to be last man standing. And he's got Necron Scythe. You can see his other gears at the beginning of the video, but he's got Necron Scythe so that when his passive triggers and he comes back after being forced to tag out, he's got low health. He's going to be draining a bunch of health and power. So the other thing I think worth mentioning is the way we've used New 52 Superman like this is that when he is last man standing and you can't tag in and out quickly to take advantage of Tantu Totem and Master's Death Card anymore, chances are you've boosted his basic damage enough so he's going to be able to do a decent amount of damage. The problem is when you get to that point, he's not particularly tough. He's going to eat a lot of damage. He's not healing on anything, so you better make his hits count. It's really sort of that last ditch kind of boosting him up a little bit so that if he is at the end, you've got a chance of finishing the fight. So this is 167 weeks of a repeating pattern that first appeared May 2020. That's 3 complete cycles of a 43-week sequence, and we are 38 weeks into the 4th cycle. If the pattern holds, next week is going to be Earth 2 Hawkgirl. So I mentioned we started using challenge characters for demos in our weekly recap November 2022. We've had 3 interruptions, so we are 7 away from doing demos of all the challenge characters. That's the next 4 weeks: Earth 2 Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter, Godfall Superman, and Hawkgirl Regime, plus Batman Ninja Joker, John Stewart Green Lantern, and Arkham Origins Bane, which we missed in that sequence over the last, I guess, 9 months now. Still, there are 23 challenge characters that are missing. This week's multiplayer reward is another character. It's Blackest Night Superman. His passive is Necron's Champion. For the dead will rise. Superman's special attacks do necrotic damage to the opponent, causing wounds that can't heal. Blackest Night characters are immune to unblockables and gain health for every knocked out opponent. Last available... Oh, and his attack is 1375. His health is 1425. Last available January 5th, 2023. That is 136 weeks in a row of consistent pattern, 4 complete cycles of a 31 reward sequence, and 12th week in the most recent 5th cycle. And unlike the challenge cycle, nothing is missing from multiplayer rewards. If the pattern holds, next week should be Cloak of Destiny. So, Superman, good high stats. He's really, actually, even though they don't break it into separate sentences, he's got 3 abilities in his passive. The first part is one of those kind of abilities that sounds really great, but it's not that good when you have to use it. The amount of necrotic damage is not game changing. It takes too long to build up enough if you're facing someone who heals. The second part, immunity unblockables, is really good. He's a good counter to the god of unblockables, which is Ares, with his special 2, Godsmack. Which, remember, it's not only unblockable by itself, but will also cause you to normally be unable to block after Ares does his Godsmack and you survive it. It's also great against most tag and stuns like Luchador, Bane, and Cloak of Destiny and Electro Gauntlets, and helps against unblockable specials like you might get with Arkham Knight Batgirl, Arkham Harley Quinn, or really any of the Harley Quinns, Killer Frost, and there's probably a few others that are top of mind right now. But there is one specific exception. It does not work on Earth 2's tag and stun, meaning Earth 2 tag-ins can still stun your Blackest Night team. Probably because the Earth 2 tag and stun is the only one that doesn't do any damage, that doesn't have any damage associated with it. There's that third minor ability of his passive, which is gaining health for every knocked out opponent. It's okay. Not great. But it does make this Blackest Night team a really hardy one when you combine it with, say, Blackest Night Hawkgirl, who gives every teammate a revive, every Blackest Night teammate a revive. So what's in the store? We've got the Hawkgirl Earth 2 bundle for $24.99 Canadian, the only currency that matters. It's a corroborate included next week. Comes with 100,000 credits. It does not unlock in your store, so not a great deal because there's a good chance if you're playing next week, you're going to get her for free by doing the challenge. We've got a second week of the character bundle Battle of Themyscira, that we talked about last week. The other new pack this week is the Femme Fatale pack, $24.99. Last available about 6 months ago. You get animated Harley, Batgirl, and Wonder Woman 600. It is great synergy. It was a great pack back when it cost 300,000 credits. Animated Harley Quinn. I mean, she's in the store, but Batgirl and Wonder Woman 600 are challenge characters. I believe... I'd have to check. Let me take a look at my notes. Batgirl is... Yeah, 2 of them are challenge characters, but they're out of the challenge character cycle, so they're otherwise not available to you. So cash packs tend to not be great deals, but this one is one of the better ones, just because it's such a great team, and it gives you 2 characters that you could not otherwise get. A bunch of other packs that have been around for more than a year, almost 2 years for some of them, so we won't go into that. What else? Phantom Zone has 1 more week left. Fight 62 is still broken. Double XP for the weekend. I'm not sure what the special occasion is for the weekend. It might just be that they feel like it, but there's no holiday in Canada this weekend. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Zod, Aquaman, and Shazam. This coming weekend is probably going to be Catwoman, Deathstroke, and Raven. Link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle. And now is usually when we talk about the current glitches. And as far as the current glitches go, we will go into a lot more detail every time something significant changes, which did not happen this week. Even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month. And most recently, that was our recap from August the 3rd. You can also see a video tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist called Current Glitches, linked in the description of this video and in the eye in the top right corner of this video. The one thing worth mentioning this week is that the challenge reset glitch has been confirmed to be working on this week's New 52 Superman challenge. And that's it. So this is where we like to thank our supporters, our patrons on Patreon. That would be Alexis M, supporting us on the Your Message Here tier. Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, and Hoshi 127 supporting us on the credited level. And a few other names that you'll see on the screen who have been generous enough to have supported us at some point during this pandemic. And thank you for watching. Komoda.